We are anonymous. We do not serve kings. We do not worship false idols. And we do not look away when power turns its back on the people it swore to protect. What you are about to hear is not just another political fight. It is a picture of a government in paralysis, a democracy choking on its own dysfunction, and leaders more obsessed with ego than duty. The American government is shut down again, but this time it is worse than ever before. This is the longest and most brutal shutdown in American history, a shutdown that is breaking families, breaking trust, and breaking the illusion that anyone in Washington still remembers who they work for. And in the middle of this chaos, one of the most unlikely figures in modern politics has just detonated, a political bomb that nobody saw coming. Her name is Marjorie Taylor Greene. For years, she has been known as one of the most extreme voices in Congress, a conspiracy theorist, a provocateur, a hardline MAGA loyalist. But now she has turned her fire inward. This time, she is attacking Donald Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson, the very leaders she once defended. It started with frustration boiling beneath the surface. 38 days into the shutdown, millions of federal workers have missed multiple paychecks. TSA agents are working without pay. SNAP, benefits the program that feeds America's poorest families, are frozen. The courts ordered them to be restored, but the administration has not acted. Airports are melting down as air traffic controllers, and security staff protest in frustration. Veterans are losing benefits, and small businesses that depend on federal loans are collapsing. America, the richest nation in the world, is eating itself alive because two political parties cannot agree on a basic budget. Trump claims it is all a test of strength. He says he will not give in to Democrats who demand funding for healthcare subsidies and SNAP benefits. He says the people will thank him later. But the people are not thanking him. They are furious, and even some of his most loyal allies are starting to crack. On the floor of the Senate, Republicans scrambled to pass a temporary funding bill that would keep the government running until late November. They want to tie it to long-term funding extensions and healthcare negotiations to make it look like they are making progress. But it is all political theater, a show for the cameras, because Mike Johnson, the new House Speaker handpicked by Trump, has already said he will not even allow a vote on that plan. So what is really happening? The Senate is pretending to act while the House is hiding in recess. Johnson shut it down weeks ago, supposedly to cool tensions. In reality, he was ducking responsibility, avoiding a showdown that could expose fractures inside the Republican Party. And while he hides behind press statements and pre-written speeches, America is falling apart. And then something strange happens. Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes, the same woman who once screamed about wild conspiracies, goes on national television and sounds like the voice of reason. She appears on The View, a show she has mocked for years, and says exactly what millions of Americans are thinking. She says we should be at work. The people watching this show, the people in this audience, they go to work every day. And it is an embarrassment that we are not in session. Those words echo across Washington like a thunderclap. The same congresswoman who used to brag about being Trump's fiercest defender is now calling his shutdown a disgrace. She is calling out her own speaker by name, and she's doing it live on national television. But Greene was not done. That night, she went on CNN and unleashed one of the most surprising tirades in recent congressional history. She said, "I am absolutely appalled and disgusted at this standstill between Democrats and Republicans. I voted to fund the government on September 18th, and here we are in November, and it is still going on. This is hurting the American people, and it is hurting Congress." She pointed out that both parties have the power to fix this. Democrats can vote to pass the continuing resolution they have supported for months. Republicans can use the same nuclear option they once used to confirm Trump's judges, the same fast-track method that bypasses filibusters. But nobody will do it. Why? Because the shutdown has become a contest of egos. As Greene put it, it is basically a manhood measuring contest between the men in leadership, and the country is sick of it. Those words cut deep. Because let's be honest, this shutdown is not about budgets or principles. It is about pride. It is about Trump trying to prove he still controls the Republican Party. It is about Mike Johnson trying to prove he is not a weak puppet. And it is about Democrats trying to prove they will not be bullied by a man who already wrecked the economy once. Everyone is fighting for headlines, for airtime, for dominance, while the American people are left holding the bill. Let's remember what is at stake here. SNAP benefits feed 42 million Americans. That is 42 million people. Mothers, children, veterans, seniors, now wondering how they will eat next week. Thousands of small businesses rely on federal loans that are frozen. Housing assistance programs are collapsing. And while politicians argue about subsidies and debt ceilings, grocery prices are still rising. Gas prices are up, utility bills are up, everything is more expensive. And the people in charge are too busy blaming each other to do their jobs. Green, of all people, becomes the voice saying what no one else dares to say. Both parties are to blame. Trump is lying about inflation. Johnson is hiding from accountability. Democrats are too timid to use the tools they have. And Americans are paying the price. Now, this is not to say Green has suddenly become a saint. She is still erratic, still extreme, still prone to the kind of rhetoric that makes headlines for the wrong reasons. But in this moment, she is saying what needs to be said. She is demanding that Congress remember its purpose to serve, not to perform. And that is what makes this story so bizarre. The same woman who once symbolized chaos is now condemning it. She is calling out Trump's delusion about falling prices and saying flat out that the president is wrong. When asked if she agreed with Trump's claim that grocery prices are going down, she said, "No, I go to the grocery store myself. Prices remain high. Energy costs are high. My bills are higher. Americans know it." In one sentence, she exposed the lie, because that is the truth. Ordinary Americans feel every day the lie that everything is fine while their paychecks buy less, their bills climb higher, and their government collapses into dysfunction. Trump, of course, responded with the usual bombast. In a post on Truth Social, he called the criticism fake news, claimed Green was misquoted, and insisted that the shutdown is necessary to save the country. But the cracks are already forming. Even inside MAGA world, people are beginning to whisper that maybe Trump's chaos strategy is not working anymore. Maybe the emperor really has no clothes. And what about Mike Johnson, the so-called Speaker of the House, the man Green called Flaccid Johnson? His silence says everything. He refuses to call the House back into session. He refuses to answer basic questions from reporters. When asked why he will not hold a vote on the Senate's funding proposal, he mutters something about protecting conservative principles and walks away. That is not leadership. That is cowardice. In the end, this is more than just a political standoff. It is a test of whether the United States still has a functioning government. If the shutdown continues much longer, agencies will run out of emergency funds. Millions could lose their health care coverage. The economy could take another hit just as inflation begins to cool. And all because two men, Trump and Johnson, would rather posture than govern. Even some conservative economists are warning that this could become a shutdown depression if it drags on past December. Federal workers are already missing rent payments. Food banks in multiple states are overwhelmed. Airports are canceling flights. And the world is watching America crumble under its own arrogance. So here is where things stand. A Congress that will not work, a president who is detached from reality, and a nation teetering on the edge of dysfunction. It is no wonder the public has lost faith. Polls show confidence in government at record lows. 80% of Americans say Washington is broken. And for once they are right. But there is something else happening beneath the surface, something that even the chaos cannot hide. Americans are waking up. They are realizing that the real power does not sit in Congress or the White House. It sits with them. The workers who refuse to stay silent. The voters who demand accountability. The citizens who still believe in a government of by and for the people. That is why this story matters. Because when even Marjorie Taylor Greene, the chaos candidate, starts calling for sanity, it means the system has gone completely off the rails. And maybe, just maybe, it means that even the most partisan players are realizing the cost of their own games. Trump can rant about loyalty. Johnson can hide behind prayer meetings and press releases. But the truth is simple. Leadership means showing up. It means solving problems, not creating them. And right now, neither of them is leading. We are anonymous. We do not serve kings. We do not bow to false idols. And we do not stay silent while millions suffer under the weight of political theater. The message is clear. The time for games is over. The time for accountability has come. So listen carefully, not to the politicians, but to the people, the federal workers who cannot pay their bills, the families lining up at food banks, the veterans losing their benefits, the Americans who are tired of being pawns in a game they never asked to play. Trump and Johnson think they can ride this out. They think the outrage will fade. They think people will forget. But we do not forget. And we will not stop reminding the world who is responsible for this disaster. So if you are listening to this, share it. Spread it. Let your representatives know you are watching. Tell them you are done with excuses. Tell them to reopen the government, restore benefits, and get back to work. Because this shutdown is not just about politics, it is about people.